And, remember this just incredibly captivating personality that would drag all the attention like a vortex towards her in a room. But she was really complicated as well and desperately trying to find happiness in her life. If she was still alive today, what do you think she'd be doing, and do you think she would be happy?
Well, of course, that would depend on what course her life took. Myself, I look back today and I play the game of what if. What if Prince Charles had perhaps the courage to marry the love of his life, Camilla Shand, when he had the chance? What if Diana had gone on to lead the normal kind of life that an aristocratic young girl, her time in London, various jobs, meeting the right sort of young men, and then going on presumably to marry, have a place in the country, a place in the city, and have children and grandchildren that she would enjoy. Because, of course, her life ended like a meteor, a shooting star. She shot across the sky of our consciousness, and then she was gone. And as her brother, Earl Spencer, said in that scathing speech on the day of her funeral, Diana was taken from us in the full bloom of her beauty and her vigour. What might she not have achieved? Her charitable work, yes. And of course, she had an effect on the royal family, on royal behaviour, on walkabouts, that really is still rippling out today. This was the princess who knelt down to the level of children, who hugged, who touched, who visited AIDS patients and shook their hands, who did so much that was so very, very different. And of course, I think it's worth mentioning the growing mood there was of public disquiet among the many grieving people on the streets of London, the demands that the Queen bring Diana's sons back from Balmoral, that the Queen came and spoke to her people, which she did. And for me, the abiding memory is that sweet, sweet smell of the dying blossoms in that tsunami of floral tributes that built up at the gates of royal residences. Diana was a diamond, sparkling, brilliant, multifaceted, but, as any jeweller will tell you, many stones have hidden flaws that can be quite destructive. And certainly, at the end of her life, she was being hounded by a press, eager, as your piece said, to get that one snapshot, or indeed, as we know before that one interview, and had really been, yes, in a sense, hounded towards the position where she was in a speeding car, in a French underpass, driven by a drunken driver and pursued by paparazzi like wasps buzzing round honey. Yes, Diana will never be forgotten, and she goes forward in the form of her sons. William, of course, seems to have adapted to press attention rather better than his brother Harry. And on this day, Alex, I'd say this. I don't think she would be particularly happy at the huge rift that has opened up between her two sons. She loved her two boys, and they were, of course, united in grief after her death. And maybe, just maybe, if Harry hadn't had that long walk through London, using his fringe as a barrier between himself and the public, maybe things might be just a little different today. Who'll forget that cushion of white roses on her coffin, labelled
Caroline,
in Harry's
thank you so much.
hand to Mummy.
Wonderful, wonderful as always to hear your thoughts and your views, always expressed beautifully. Caroline Aston.